Hey, Anxiety Club. Happy weekending. Bringing you a new Anxiety Club Saturday sessions today. This one specifically is going to be really tough on me because we're going to be covering a topic that is very, very hard for me to talk about. But I do want to talk about it because I know the importance of it, and I know that Anxiety Club in itself is meant to draw community, and I honestly wish that I had someone to go to or episodes to watch, to feel related to when I've been at my lowest points before. So I'm trying to be that, and I want that for all of us. And so yeah, this topic is going to be a little tough for me, so hang in there. If there's like some awkward pauses, I'll probably just edit them out so you won't know, but but yeah, we'll definitely we'll do this together, and let's get into it. The topic that I want to get into today is panic attacks. And I have had a lot of them. I know they're different for everyone. But I'll tell you about my experiences. Just a quick reminder too, like if any of you guys get triggered by talking about panic attacks or anything like that, like I am going to go into detail today. So, just be sure to, mute me or, maybe skip certain parts that might be triggering to you. Because I completely understand. So specifically going to be talking about the worst panic attack of my life, and then also panic attacks in general that I've had, and also how everything spiraled into having panic attacks. And also what I currently do now so that I don't have them anymore. And I can honestly say that after about 4 years of hard work and, a lot of ups and downs, I can honestly say I've been doing really good. So, some days I still struggle, but I've been really fortunate to say, like, I might have figured out what works for me. So I want to share that with you. So first we'll dive into how I found out that I have anxiety and therefore panic attacks. My story, I've actually heard a few people say that the same thing has happened to them before. But my story actually started in my freshman year of college, which in my last episode, I was highlighting homesickness and how like my homesickness kind of spiraled into my anxiety. So that kind of plays a role here as well. It was my freshman year of college. I was really just someone that likes routine. So like being taken away from my routine and going to college and not being around my family every day, and like my friends from high school every day, and like my routine from high school and stuff, to being like a small fish in a big pond. Was really difficult to say the least. And I think I was masking a lot of it by just, putting on a brave face and doing my best to welcome the change. But yeah, no, it was definitely over time affecting me, which I don't even think I knew. So what ended up happening for me, I remember I was sitting in, I want to say, no, I was sitting in like a science class or something, and I was having just like chest pains and what felt like a heart problem. Like I felt my heart skipping beats and I was having chest pains. And I was like, what is going on? Like, am I okay? Like, this isn't normal. And over time, like not even over time, because it really wasn't like that long of a period of time. I would say like that week, I was like hyper fixated on it, and I spent a lot of time, being like, oh, what's going on with me? Like something's off. And I remember one day I was walking home from a class with my college roommate who, I'm so thankful for her because she was so cool, and she just was like a fun person in general. So like she was helpful. But we were like walking back from class, I think that we had together, and I just like kind of fell to my knees. Like it was like, I know that sounds almost dramatic, but I couldn't breathe. Like I just could not catch my breath. I was having these chest pains. I was like, something's really wrong. And in the moment, you kind of feel like you're dying in a way. And so I went to the college clinic, which was like the only thing I really knew to do. And I remember sitting in the parking lot of this clinic and thinking to myself, am I really about to walk in there and tell them that like I can't breathe? Like this is crazy. And I sat in the parking lot and I sobbed. Like I just remember sobbing. Like I kind of knew, I think I knew like, okay, yeah, I have a heart problem, but I was also like really stressed and I was like out of breath. So like it just was this whole, like I knew I was so in a state of panic, but I didn't know that I was like having a panic attack, if that makes sense. And so I eventually like go into the clinic and I tell them, I'm like, I think I'm having chest pains and I just want to get checked out. And I was like, I'm sure like I was very physically looked really unwell. Like, cause when you are having a panic attack, like a lot of the times your breathing pattern's off. So like, I felt like I was going to pass out basically. And so I remember they kind of took me back pretty quickly. Like I think I skipped the line, like the waiting room line, because they were probably like, oh my God, this girl has like some pretty gnarly symptoms. Like we need to get her checked out. And so they take me back and they actually hooked me up to, an EKG. I think that's what it's called. And it's a heart monitor and it's like a way to see, you know, if your heart, how your heart is doing or like what it's doing. And I remember they like printed them out and then they like came back into the room and they were like, yeah, you're having heart palpitations and we recommend that you like go to the emergency room. So that heightened my panic even more, which again, I want to be very clear, like I had no idea that I was having a panic attack. I had not a clue. At this moment in time, I genuinely thought something was wrong with me and that I was like dying. And so I go to the hospital. I remember I like called a friend, drove me to the hospital. And once I'm at the hospital, you know, they start running all of these tests, like tests, like a chest x-ray. That is a mouthful. Chest x-ray. And they ran another EKG and, you know, they kind of came back to me and they were like, you know, yeah, we saw a couple heart palpitations, but like, you know, it's not really anything that we're like super concerned about. And like, you seem fine otherwise. And there is no worse feeling than feeling like you're dying and a doctor being like, you're fine. You're totally fine. Like, why are you here? And you're like, because I'm dying. And so I definitely, that calmed me. I will say, like the doctors being like, no, your heart is not in failure. Like you are not having, you know, a heart attack. Like you're okay and you can leave. And, you know, that definitely calmed my anxiety and panic naturally. So I went back to the dorm room and I was pretty just like, that was weird and I feel a little better and I'm going to get a good night's sleep. And I woke up the next day and I, you know, kind of went about my day pretty normally the next day. So it was kind of a weird thing. They did at the hospital though say to follow up with a cardiologist. So that was like the next step. So I went to the cardiologist and they put another like heart monitor on me where you have these like sticky things all over your chest and you have this like beeper thing that you carry around with you like in your pocket or something. Nashville just jumped up on the table. So if the camera's shaking, sorry. Can you come down? Can you get down? They always have to be the life of the show, like always. Okay, sorry about that. I lost my train of thought a little bit. Okay, I think I was talking about the cardiologist. So they were hooking me up to all these wires that I had to wear for about a week, and that sucked. Like, I was a freshman in college, you guys. Like, I should be partying my ass off. Like, I should be, doing crazy stuff, like having the time of my life, like living it up. And I am over here wearing a heart monitor because I'm afraid I have a heart problem. And, naturally that just like was very weird and kind of made me feel like a weirdo in a way. Cause like all my girlfriends and like my roommate and everybody would like go out and like do fun things, and I would just, kind of chill and stay in or whatever. Kind of the whole freshman year actually, but specifically that week too. And so like a week goes by where I'm wearing this heart thing, and eventually I go back to the cardiologist. They take it off, they run the scans for like a week or so. I get it back and I have a follow-up appointment with the cardiologist, and he's like, your heart is healthy and you are fine. Like, you have no problems. There are not enough heart palpitations for us to be concerned that you should have surgery or like anything like that. So they basically were like, you're good. You don't need to worry. Have you considered anxiety? And I remember thinking to myself, not until now. And then it was kind of this like aha moment of, okay, this is all adding up. This is making sense. I was having anxiety this whole time. That's crazy. Like, it took me going to the college clinic, to going to the emergency room, to going to the cardiologist. Like, all of these things that I did just to find out I have anxiety was like almost like, it was kind of like a relief that I knew that like, okay, something was going on, but also like, I don't want to say a letdown, but with anxiety, it's like, there's not just like one thing you can do to make it go away, or panic disorder. Like, it's going to take like time and healing and finding things that work for you. And I think that was very daunting to think about. So yeah, it was a really odd experience in how I found out that I have anxiety and panic disorder. But I will say, a lot of people say that they found out in a similar light. Like, I've had other people tell me that they also wore a heart monitor in their findings that they had anxiety, and same vibe. Like, they were like, yeah, I didn't have a heart problem. I had anxiety. So yeah, now I have anxiety. Cool. Fabulous. Let's add it to the list, right? For me, it was like I was unable to catch my breath, or always out of breath. And like, I didn't do any exercise to feel this out of breath, or like, just like can't catch my breath. Like, I feel like I can't get a full deep breath, and I feel like you almost feel like a lion is chasing after you, even though there's no goddamn lion chasing after me. Like, what is going on? Like, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to feel like you can't catch your breath. And ultimately that's what kind of leads to a panic attack for me, is like, oh, I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe right. I'm overthinking things. Like, what do I do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, like, you just like start kind of hyperventilating, and you don't even really know sometimes that it's happening. Like, you just naturally are not breathing correctly. And that's what was happening for me, which is why I got on this specific anxiety medicine. It did help calm that though. Like, it really did help calm the over breathing and the hyperfixation on the breathing. That did help a lot. I actually still take it to this day. Still am on that, because I have actually tried getting off, and the breathing, out of breath feelings did come back. So that's one thing that I do still take. It's called Buspirone, and I take 20 milligrams of it at night. But yeah, that's only one of the anxiety medicines that I take. I do also take another one. I take Zoloft as well, and I've had a lot of ups and downs on my Zoloft journey. I'm gonna get into more about my Zoloft journey in another episode. This one's more centered around panic attacks, but the Zoloft did help as well with panic attacks. Eventually I did get on Zoloft, but I do want to talk about that in the later episodes. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was, for me, like, my panic attacks don't all happen very like intensely and quickly. Like, I think when people think panic attacks, they think like, oh, like you're stuck on the bathroom floor and you can't get up and you can't stop crying and you can't breathe. And like, yes, that has happened to me before, and yes, that is a real thing. But for me, my panic attacks tend to last for days, like multiple days at a time, if not like weeks, if not can last up to like a month, to be quite frank. Where I feel like I'm just in a state of mind where like I feel uncomfortable in my own skin, and therefore like I just can't breathe properly. I feel like I can't ever catch my breath. I feel like, you know, tunnel vision in a way. And also I think my fight or flight is so elevated that like a lot of times when I'm experiencing these phases or spells, I kind of call them spells, like I'm going through a hard spell, I don't remember them, which sounds really strange. It's like, how do you not remember your anxiety spell? I don't know. Like my brain just like blocks a lot of it out. The worst, another thing. So my panic attacks do last sometimes up to weeks. The worst panic attack of my life was 2 years ago. I visited Arizona because I was performing out there in Arizona. I had some shows out there that I was performing. I was actually very excited. My cousin Hannah was meeting me out there, and we were gonna kind of live it up in Arizona for a weekend, at my dad's condo. He's got a place out there. So we were like, jackpot, like we've got a place to stay. I'm gonna perform. She's a photographer, so she was gonna do some pictures, and we were gonna like have a blast of a weekend. Plot twist, I had the worst panic attack of my life. Basically, like, I also want to talk about intrusive thoughts, but that's what was going on in my head for the first time ever in my life. I was experiencing just these like awful thoughts, which like now, after, you know, going to EMDR therapy and doing all of these things to really like work through these things that I was thinking, like, looking back on it, it's so silly that I was so stuck in that headspace, like couldn't get out, was questioning why I was thinking certain things, was questioning, like, I pretty much was just questioning life. Like it was really awful. And that's one of those headspaces too that like it hit me. I remember I was walking in the LA airport to get on my plane to go to Phoenix, we were going to Scottsdale, but yeah, Phoenix. And I was carrying my guitar because of the shows, and it was so heavy. God, that guitar was so heavy to carry around in an airport in like a hard case. And I was walking, and all of a sudden, I think I blacked out for a second. I'm not going to lie. Like I was walking, and then all of a sudden I like blacked out for a second, and then I came back. And I swear to God, when I came back from this weird moment of like, it was maybe, I mean, shoot, I hope it wasn't actually longer than I think it was, because I would have just been standing in the airport looking all weird. But I think it was probably like 3 seconds where I was just like, whoa, like I just entered a new dimension. Like it literally felt like I had walked through a new dimension door. And all of a sudden, and I was not the same. I was not the same person for like 3 months. I swear. I was experiencing these intrusive thoughts for the first time, and I got so worked up about it that I actually put myself in a panic state of mind for like 3 months. So that was the worst panic experience ever. I basically ended up like doing everything I could before I admitted it. Like I remember taking a shower. I remember I actually got through the performance that night that I had. I like basically sang through a performance while having a panic attack. That was terrible. I remember too, like I just couldn't quite hit the notes correctly. Like I was super out of breath, but like I was there to play shows, right? So I was like, that's what I'm here to do. And so, yeah, I performed through that show, got through that show. But then the next day I woke up and I was just not the same person. Like my cousin Hannah will tell me to this day, she's like, no, your energy was really off. Like something was really off for you that day. Like I could feel it. You were just not yourself at all. And I remember, taking a shower. I remember trying to take a nap. I remember trying to watch a movie. I remember trying to do all of these things, and I just could not get comfortable. I could not settle in. I was so terrified of these intrusive thoughts I was having. And it's such a hard place to be in, because like you don't really want to tell someone that you're experiencing intrusive thoughts, especially to someone who's never experienced that before, because you don't want them to be like, you good, bro? Like, and judge you. So not that Hannah would have ever done that, or not that really anyone in my close circle would have ever done that. But I think there was like fear in me that if I say something, I'm identified now as like, as something that I don't want to be identified as, meaning like I don't want to be identified as like someone that has these intrusive thoughts. Like I already am identified as someone who has anxiety. Like I don't want that. And so that just like added on to this like panic attack that I was having. And I was trying to hide it. I was trying to mask it so hard because we were out here for this, weekend to have like the time of our lives, and I'm just not right. And I was taking a shower and I was doing these breathing exercises. And I remember, getting out of, actually I don't really remember much at all, to be honest, but I remember getting out of the shower, and I remember putting on clothes, and then I laid on the bathroom floor, and I didn't get off the bathroom floor for like 3 hours. I was just stuck there. I could not breathe. I was sobbing. I was hyperventilating. Like my fingers and my toes were completely tingling. Like I thought I was dying truly in that moment. And I remember calling Hannah in, and she was just held me. Like seriously, she just held me for 3 hours, and I just like held on to her for dear life, and honestly just like prayed that it was going to go away quickly, because you do feel like you are dying when you're in the thick of it. We almost called 911 several times because I just couldn't breathe. Like I was white, like I was not getting enough oxygen because I was just so like just not well. It was really tough. So, sorry, my cats do keep knocking things over, so I keep having to change the camera. So it keeps switching. Sorry about that. But I do take Xanax now, knowing now that it does help me. I just take like a half, or even just a half of a half, and like it will really help me just like get my breath back and get my headspace like correct and like feel in control again. But at the time when I was going through my worst one, I didn't have any of that. I didn't know. This was like the hardcore first. I think I had actually other panic attacks, to be honest. I don't remember right now, but this was like the worst one, and I didn't have any Xanax with me at the time because I had been doing so well. And so yeah, this is hard to talk about, to be honest. I ended up basically watching Despicable Me, which sounds hilarious, but like I will say, like tuning into like your comfort show or your comfort movie like helps a lot. I was just like watching Despicable Me on my phone while Hannah was literally holding me, and eventually like we knew someone in Arizona, she's my stepsister, who did have some Xanax, and I just took like a little bit. It's prescription Xanax. I don't want anyone to freak out about this. Like it was a very controlled environment. Like I took a half, and you guys, I'm not kidding. Like it was the reason I got through like and functioned to a point where like the next day I hopped on a plane and I came home. And sorry, the cats are driving me nuts. And I basically was just in a really, really tough state of mind for about 3 months after that. I got back on my Zoloft because I had been off of it for a little while, which again, I'm going to talk to you guys about my Zoloft story and my ups and downs with that in another episode. But this one, I just wanted again to be just about panic attacks. So, yeah, I think, tuning into like your favorite comfort movie or your favorite thing to do, or like exercise is helpful, or sleep, to be honest. Like sleep is something that I do, and obviously we all do it, but like I do feel a lot better if I'm really anxious. Like I just take a nap, or like take a shower, like a cold shower though, to try and shock your system back into like, normalcy. That's good. Being around people that you love and trust to tell them how you're feeling is really helpful. I have conquered this, you guys. Like I have overcome this. I'm very proud of myself because it was not easy at all. But I swear to God, if you are experiencing a low right now, like, and you are watching this, like, I am here for you. I got you. If you have any questions, you can literally DM me on Instagram. I'll link that below to DM me, excuse me, on Instagram, or if you feel comfortable, like comment your questions in the comment section below. I will get back to you. Okay, sorry you guys for the camera movements. Again, had to move things around a bit too. My cats go nuts sometimes, but I was talking about how, like, if you guys need anything or have any questions, to definitely please let me know, because I'm here for you. I want to be a guide on your anxiety journey, someone that you can reach out to if you're going through something, because I've been there and I can relate more than you know, and I just want you guys to feel like you have someone here. And now you have something to tune into on the weekends if you're looking for something to do and you don't want to go out. I'm here. I got you guys. And I will see you next week for Anxiety Club Saturday sessions. Be sure to subscribe. That'd be great if you guys could subscribe to my channel. And if you want your own Anxiety Club crew, be sure to click the link in the description below to go to my Etsy to grab one. They're really cozy. I love hanging out in mine. I love it when I'm anxious too. It's just the perfect like throw on crew. And if you're wanting to check out my music, that's on Spotify and linked in the description down below as well. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.